welcome back to Thinking Out Loud. Today, we're diving into a topic that's incredibly important, but often misunderstood. PTSD, or post-traumatic stress disorder. If you or someone you know has experienced trauma, you might already be familiar with how deeply it can affect your life. PTSD is not just about feeling scared or anxious. It's a complex condition that changes the way your brain works. So let's break it down and explore what happens in the brain when PTSD takes hold. So what is PTSD? PTSD is a mental health condition that can develop after someone experiences or even witnesses a traumatic event, like an accident, violence, natural disaster, or combat. Unlike normal stress responses, PTSD doesn't just fade over time. It can become chronic and disruptive, impacting daily life and relationships. People with PTSD may relive the trauma through flashbacks or nightmares, avoid places or situations that remind them of the event, or experience intense emotional numbness. There can also be a constant feeling of being on edge, like the brain is always waiting for something bad to happen. When trauma happens, your brain immediately jumps into survival mode. This is thanks to the amygdala, the part of your brain that processes emotions and threats. In times of danger, the amygdala signals your hypothalamus and sympathetic nervous system, triggering the fight or flight response. For most people, once the danger passes, the brain returns to a more stable state. But for people with PTSD, the brain doesn't turn off that fight or flight response. The amygdala stays hyperactive, causing the brain to remain on high alert even when there's no immediate danger. This means everyday situations might trigger an intense emotional or physical reaction, as if the trauma is happening all over again. One key part of the brain affected by PTSD is the hippocampus, the area involved in forming and recalling memories. In people with PTSD, the hippocampus may be smaller than average, which could explain why traumatic memories are often fragmented or disordered. People with PTSD might have difficulty distinguishing between memories of the trauma and present-day events, which can lead to intrusive flashbacks or vivid nightmares. The prefrontal cortex is the part of your brain responsible for higher-order functions like decision-making, impulse control, and regulating emotions. In people with PTSD, the prefrontal cortex may not function as effectively. This means that the brain's ability to manage emotions and calm down the amygdala is impaired. It's like the emotional brakes on your brain aren't working properly, making it hard to control the intense reactions to trauma-related stimuli. So, what does all of this mean for someone living with PTSD? Some of the most common symptoms include flashbacks and nightmares, re-experiencing the traumatic event as if it's happening again. Avoidance, steering clear of reminders of the trauma, including people, places, or even activities. Hypervigilance, feeling constantly on guard or being easily startled. Emotional numbness, difficulty feeling positive emotions, or a sense of detachment from others. PTSD doesn't just live in the mind, it can have a profound effect on physical health too. People with PTSD may experience chronic pain, headaches, and sleep disturbances. The constant stress and anxiety can weaken the immune system, making it harder for the body to recover from illness or injury. But beyond the physical toll, PTSD can affect relationships, works, and social life. When someone is constantly on edge, it's hard to connect with others or find joy in everyday activities. It can also cause problems at work or school, as concentration and memory can be impacted by intrusive thoughts or emotional numbing. If you or someone you know is dealing with PTSD, there is help. It's important to remember that PTSD is treatable and recovery is possible. Here are some common treatments. Therapy, CBT therapy, and EMDR are two therapies that have been shown to help people process trauma in a healthy way. There's medications like antidepressants and anti-anxiety medications that can sometimes be prescribed to help manage symptoms, especially when combined with therapy. There's mindfulness and relaxation techniques like meditation, yoga, and deep breathing exercises that can help calm the nervous system. There's support groups. Connecting with others who have experienced similar trauma can provide validation and support in ways that are incredibly healing. PTSD can be an incredibly isolating condition, but it's important to know that you don't have to face it alone. There are treatments, therapies, and communities that can help guide you towards healing and recovery. If you or someone you love is struggling, don't hesitate to reach out for support. Thank you for joining me today as we explored the brain's response to trauma and the science behind PTSD. Understanding what's happening in the brain is the first step in breaking the stigma and finding healing. Take care of your brain, and I'll see you in the next episode.